Rasulillah. Amma ba'd. Chapter 24. باب تغليظ عقوبة من أمر بمعروف أو نهى عن منكر وخالف قوله فعله. The severe punishment for someone who tells the people to do good or tells them to avoid doing bad but then doesn't practice it himself. The severe punishment for one who tells the people to do good, or he forbids them from doing evil but refrains from implementing that himself. قال الله تعالى أتأمرون الناس بالبر وتنسون أنفسكم وأنتم تتلون الكتاب أفلا تعقلون. وعن أبي زيد أسامة بن زيد بن حارثة رضي الله عنهما قال سمعت رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم يقول يؤتى بالرجل يوم القيامة فينقى في النار فتندلق أقتاب بطنه فيدور بها كما يدور الحمار في الرحى فيجتمع إليه أهل النار فيقولون يا فلان ما لك ألم تكن تأمر بالمعروف وتنهى عن المنكر فيقول بلى كنت آمر بالمعروف ولا آتيه وأنهى عن المنكر وآتيه. متفق عليه. قوله تندلق هو بالدال المهملة ومعناه تخرج، والأقتاب الأمعاء واحد قطب. After chapter 23, which was enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, and its obligation, its virtue, its excellence, and its importance of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, the obligation of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil, the author follows up with another chapter which says that even though you have to enjoin the good and forbid the evil, you could never ever lose thought and focus of yourself. Don't lose thought and focus of yourself. And that if you do tell the people something, or you tell the people not to do something, but you yourself neglect your own self from doing it, then it's something which is not only haram, but it's something which is extremely dangerous. Extremely dangerous. And is a means of lack of common sense. As it states in certain narrations, hadith isn't necessarily authentic from the Prophet ﷺ, but the narration it says, مثل العالم الذي يعلم الناس الخير ثم ينسى نفسه كمثل السراج يضيء للناس الطريق ثم يحرق نفسه أو كما قيل. The narration says the similitude of the learned one who teaches the people and then forgets about himself is that of a lamp. The similitude of the learned one who teaches the people and then forgets about himself is that of a lamp. He illuminates the path for the people, shows the people the clear way, but then burns himself, destroys himself through doing good through others. وَلَعِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ. So this is a severe danger, a severe threat. It's not a joke, and it's a major problem that the scholar, the khatib, the imam, the teacher has to live and face on a daily basis, asking himself those critical questions. Am I implementing what I'm teaching? Am I avoiding what I'm prohibiting the people from doing on Friday in the masjid? So on and so forth. It's very dangerous. That's first and foremost. And another dimension of this aspect, or another dimension of this issue, is the shaitan tricking the slave of Allah and getting him not to teach and not to enjoin the good and not to forbid the evil because of his imperfections and his deficiency. So the shaitan, he comes and he says, you can't tell the people to do anything. You can't teach, you can't call, you can't preach, you can't do anything because you yourself still have sins. How can you go give the khutbah and tell the people to fear Allah, and last night, Thursday night, you had an argument with your wife and you struck your wife and you became angry at your children and lost your temper. So you can't give the khutbah on Friday. So now the shaitan, he has the slave tricked. He has him trapped. He himself made a sin. Now I can't tell anyone else to avoid the sin. And now the shaitan is laughing at him and he's happy because he has him doing two bad things. Forgetting himself first and foremost, and forgetting the obligation of enjoining the good and forbidding the evil. And this is from the evil of the shaitan, وَلِيَذُ بِاللَّهِ, and the feebleness of the nafs, except for those whom Allah has mercy upon. So of course there has to be a balance, and there always has to be an amount of Islamic professionalism. There has to be a balance. No one is perfect. And it has to be Islamic professionalism, meaning you as a teacher, as a school teacher, or a khatib, or a scholar, or a mufti, you as a reciter of the Quran, you'll never ever be perfect. You can be pious and righteous and fight yourself, yes, but you'll never be perfect because you're the son of Adam. However, you have to realize that you cannot confuse your Islamic duty. You cannot mix your Islamic duty with your own personal shortcomings and feelings. Just like a real job, quote unquote, they say a real job. You have to go in and punch the clock no matter what. No matter how you're feeling. I'm depressed, I'm low. I don't feel like I'm a good chef today. But you have to cook today, regardless. And there are people that come to your restaurant and they want to eat good food. Despite your mood and despite how insecure or how negative you may feel about yourself and about your culinary skills on this morning or in this afternoon or in the evening. And the same applies to an Islamic teacher. If you have a sin or mistake that you make tawbah. Ask Allah to hide it from the people. Ask Allah to allow you to get over it. But you still have to perform in a manner. You still have to speak. You still have to talk. In general, let alone someone is coming to hear you speak and to benefit from your words. And they don't know about your sins and your errors. As Shaykh ibn Uthaymeen rahimahullah ta'ala has explained, the khatib gets on the minbar and he says, Ittaqullah, fear Allah. And when he says that, sins that he is making. He may owe someone money. He may have made a sin, as we said, on Thursday night or Friday morning. He may have gotten into an argument with his wife and cursed at his wife, unfortunately. Lost his temper, became angry at someone, got into a car accident, and got into road rage and cursed the person out, knocked somebody out. It doesn't mean that I travel from New York City to Baltimore and I say I can't give the khutbah today, akhi. And the people are waiting and they've taken the necessary means of me getting to Baltimore, Maryland. I say I can't give the khutbah because I punched somebody after I got into a car accident. He raised his voice at me. He tried to make fun of me because I was a Muslim and I was wearing a robe and I punched him in his face. So I can't give the khutbah. That's not Islamic professionalism. And that's also a trick and a trap of the shaitan. However, the one who knows that he is not willing to fight himself at all, and he doesn't have the ability to fight himself, perhaps he shouldn't be the one who enjoins the good and forbids the evil. طيب. The first ayah from Surah Al-Baqarah, Allah addresses Ahlul Kitab. He says, أَتَأْمُرُونَ النَّاسَ بِالْبِرِّ. You tell the people to do righteous acts, and you forget about yourselves, and you recite Allah's scriptures. أَفَلَا تَعْقِلُونَ. Shall you have not any sense? Do you have any sense to teach someone something and forget about it yourself? Or do you have any sense to forget about the ugliness of hypocrisy? وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. So the ayah clearly proves that this is something as a means of lack of aql, lack of intellect, when a person does this. Then he quotes the famous narration of Usama ibn Zayd ibn Haritha radiyallahu anhu, whose kunya was Abu Zayd. Usama ibn Zayd, his kunya and his name, or the name of his father, was the exact same. Abu Zayd, Usama ibn Zayd ibn Haritha radiyallahu anhu, may Allah be pleased with them both. I heard the Messenger of Allah alayhi salatu wasalam saying on the day of judgment, he says, يُؤْتَى بِالرَّجُلِ يَوْمَ الْقِيَامَةِ فَيُلْقَى فِي النَّارِ. A man will be thrown in the fire on the day of judgment. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. فَتَنْدَلِقُ أَقْتَابُ بَطْنِهِ. In the insides, his intestines, his belly will be torn open and it will be poured forth and dragged in the fire of hell. فَيُدُورُ بِهَا كَمَا يُدُورُ الْحِمَارِ فِي الرَّحَى. And he'll walk around his intestines, circling like a donkey does around a flour mill, a flour grinder. فَيَجْتَمِعُ إِلَيْهِ أَهْلُ النَّارِ فَيَقُولُونَ يَا فُلَانُ مَا لَكَ. They say, oh, so-and-so, what's the matter with you? The people of the fire, they will gather, they'll congregate. He says, what's your problem? What's the issue with you? He says, weren't you the one who used to teach us to do good and forbid us from doing evil? He said, of course. He won't lie. The reality is real. Yani, they're in the hellfire. And then he would say, but I told you to do the good, but I never did it myself. And I would tell you to avoid the evil, but it was something that I couldn't avoid and stay away from myself. And this hadith is collected by Imam al-Bukhari and by Imam Muslim. And it's a very scary hadith and a very serious hadith about the severe danger and the severe punishment of not practicing what one preaches, and how it's a means of not only physical punishment, but major humiliation. Major humiliation for everyone to see him and for them to just be purposeless in the fire, walking around his own intestines. وَالْعِيَاذُ بِاللَّهِ. Hadith also teaches us is that there are other things in hellfire besides just fire. It's not just burning, but there are other physical punishments in the fire of hell besides just actual burning. And burning will be sufficient, as we said on Friday. There'll be enough just to burn yourself. let alone for other parts and other things to happen to you. We ask Allah Azza wa Jalla to protect us from this. هذا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله نبينا وإمامنا محمد. But last but not least, brothers and sisters, this also applies to today's times with regards to raising children and with regards to having a family, and the importance of leading by example, the importance of being a role model for your young sons and young daughters, and that if you may do something, it may have a stronger effect than you saying it upon them. And if you tell them to do something but you yourself don't do it, it may have been of no use. So it's very important to lead your children by example, and try your best to hide your shortcomings from your children. Try your best to hide your flaws from your children. Hide it from them. Try your best until you have the ability to leave it alone, smoking or drinking or fighting with your wife. And this is one of the problems with regards to marital discord and fighting and arguing. And sometimes, not all of the time, but sometimes a marriage becomes so sour, so bitter, and the love becomes so weak, and so much fighting and arguing between a husband and wife, that it's best for them to be separated. Because the person says, I don't want to get separated from my wife or my husband because we're going to have a split home. But you fight, you curse at each other, you holler at each other, you pick up objects, she fights you, you fight her, and the child always is sent to the room, screaming and hollering, crying. And then people, they don't even feel shy anymore. It becomes a public, normal thing to have a full-blown argument with your wife in front of the small children. Sometimes that's more harmful. So we have to be mindful of what we do in front of our kids and try our best to lead them by example. And if we tell them this is haram, then they have to see us avoid it. If we tell them that this is obligatory, they have to see us doing it. And if not, then only Allah knows what will actually happen with regards to our children learning from our words. And Allah Azza wa Jalla knows best.